Dear audience, welcome back to Truthful Sunlight, where the light of truth illuminates human life. Today, we're diving into a thought-provoking scenario. What if millions of monks and Buddhists in Vietnam were to follow the phenomenon of Thich Minh Tue and pour into the streets? This could lead to some major consequences, and we're going to break it down point by point. Let's get into it. With the number of 55,000 monks and nuns, and 14 million Buddhists in Vietnam as of 2021 pouring into the streets today, what will be the consequences? 1. Traffic congestion. First, let's talk about traffic jams. Imagine millions of Buddhists and participants pouring into the streets. This would lead to serious traffic jams, especially in crowded urban areas. Transport systems could be paralyzed, causing major disruptions to daily life, security, and order. It is impossible to imagine what would happen if there were a fire a few dozen meters or a few kilometers away from the crowd, how the fire truck would pass, and what would happen to the victims of the fire. Additionally, the authorities would need to be on duty every day, and ambulances would need to urgently rescue people. All of this requires a safe, unobstructed traffic system. 2. Mobilization of security forces and volunteers. Next, we will need to mobilize security forces and volunteers to monitor and guide participants, ensuring order and safety throughout the walking events. 3. Burden on national security forces and medical team. This scenario will also place a heavy burden on the national security forces, and the medical teams, which are already working very hard, will be even more strained. They will need to handle emergency situations, possibly including terrorist attacks. The medical team will have to be ready to respond to any emergency situation. In fact, in the group of monks following Thich Minh Tue, there have been instances of people fainting or even dying from heat stroke on the way. If this scenario becomes reality, victims inside the crowd may not receive timely treatment. 4. Environmental impact. The environmental impact cannot be ignored. Millions of people walking every day will create a huge amount of waste, harming the environment. We will face problems with hygiene, water for bathing, and the need to hire more staff to maintain cleanliness. 5. Risk of disease spread. With large gatherings, there is always a risk of spreading disease, especially in the context of an epidemic. Close contact between a large number of people creates conditions for bacteria and viruses to spread quickly, easily leading to outbreaks of infectious diseases such as influenza, dengue fever, or at higher risk, causing widespread outbreaks of dangerous diseases like COVID-19. This poses a major threat to public health, which could lead to the rapid spread of the disease, causing many severe cases, even deaths, and increasing pressure on the health system. 6. Impact on local and individual economies. Businesses in congested areas may face difficulties in operating normally. Firstly, they may need to reduce production or temporarily halt operations due to a lack of human resources or access to the market, affecting supply chains and related services. Additionally, individuals who lose their jobs will encounter financial instability and may struggle to meet daily expenses such as bills and loan repayments. This can result in heightened financial strain within families and increased societal stress overall. 7. Family and social responsibilities. Many participants have families, children, and elderly parents. Following this movement leads to a lack of care and support for families, especially for children and elderly parents who rely on them for their well-being and livelihood, which can lead to emotional distress, financial difficulties, and a breakdown in family relationships. 8. Negative reaction from society. This phenomenon does not receive support from everyone. Some may have negative reactions due to various reasons, ranging from cultural and religious perspectives to concerns about security and social order. This diversity in opinions can lead to conflicts and tensions within the community, exacerbating divisions and impacting social relations and overall stability. 9. Food sources. Monks, nuns, and let people participate in daily walks, asking for food from people. Who provides food to them in such large quantities? Who is responsible for ensuring that they have enough food to survive, and that the food source is safe for them? 10. Doing nothing is not always a good choice. Daily walking can reduce the time spent on traditional religious activities such as chanting, meditating, and studying scriptures. This can affect the effectiveness of religious practice. Participating in the walk has no significance for their personal progress or the development of the community. Finally, through participating in this pilgrimage, what teachings of Buddhism do they impart? And how can these teachings be applied in real life? 11. Challenges of maintaining and developing Buddhist temples compared to other religions, where donations are mandatory to maintain places of worship. Offerings in Buddhism are voluntary. This poses a challenge in terms of maintaining and developing temples and meditation centers. Temples provide important spaces for reflection, meditation, fasting, and beneficial teaching. Not accepting offerings can affect the organization of Buddhist spiritual land, cultural events, and celebrations, causing losses not only culturally, but also spiritually and socially. 12. Question of liberation. Liberation is not about avoiding life, but living responsibly, without greed, in a disciplined environment to control the body and mind. Guidance from a teacher is necessary to follow the path to enlightenment. The time it takes to attain enlightenment depends on morality, merit, and diligence in practicing meditation. Walking may be part of Buddhist spiritual practice. 13. Threat of reactionary plots. Finally, we must consider the threat of reactionary plots. The large gathering of monks, nuns, and participants can create an environment easily exploited by bad elements, causing unrest. There is a risk that these movements could be used to weaken Buddhism, abolish the monastic system, and weaken the cultural ideology of the nation. Such plots could incite violence against the government and undermine the teachings that promote love of country, karma, and enlightenment. Losing these teachings could push the country into dark times and loss of freedom. Above is the hypothesis of the phenomenon of millions of monks and Buddhists walking. Through analysis, it brings no benefit and even puts the country in a dangerous situation. So why is the number of people joining Thich Minh Tue's group always increasing? Most YouTubers, TikTokers, netizens, and a majority of curious people have whispered to each other and even praised Mr. Thich Minh Tuesday as a reincarnated Buddha or a saint, making many people superstitious and follow him. What is the mysterious drama behind this? Let's unveil the conspiracy behind the Thich Minh Tuesday phenomenon in the next video.